The title of today's class is How to Understand the American Teenager. Now, certainly the foundation for understanding the American teenager is to understand the individual as he or she is growing up. So it's not all of a sudden, boom, they're a teenager. It's a continuous process. And so that many of the issues associated with teenagers wouldn't be there if we were able to stay well connected with our children as they're growing up, which in our society today is not easy. There tends to be more of an attitude of individualism, doing your own thing, not listening to your parents, but doing what you think is best. So it's a little harder to guide children today, but it's definitely possible. Teenagers in America and in Western society are famous for being rebellious. The rebellious teenager, it goes together. I developed a process called death visualization therapy where I would take teenagers who were disrespecting their parents, teenagers maybe who would hit a parent or curse at their parent or more subtle forms of disrespect, not listening to their parents. And I would take them to a room with a coffin. And I say, imagine your mother or your father, let's say in this case it's your mother. Your mother's lying in that coffin. What would you want to say to your mother? And a lot of times you just break down seeing the coffin. It actually looks like a funeral atmosphere in the room. And typically just seeing the coffin is so real, the teenager will break down and say, I love you. I'm going to miss you. I'm so sorry I disrespected you. I wish I had another chance. That's pretty universally what happens. I love you. I'm going to miss you. I'm so sorry I disrespected you. I wish I had another chance. Universal. And I say, well, the good news, of course, your mother's alive. She's in the other room. Let's talk. And at that moment, the teenager is tremendously appreciating his or her mother, tremendously. Because what's the theory behind this? The theory is this. We tend not to appreciate what we have till we lose it, or we're about to lose it, or the idea of losing it is put before us. Well, that coffin makes it very real. You could lose your parent. And to a lot of children and teenagers, the idea of losing your parent isn't even real. It's been there since infancy. It seems like it's never going to end. But really, and in reality, the child could die, or the child could die at any time, or the mother or the father could die at any time. It could happen. Accidents, disease, and so forth. So this leads to then an appreciation of the parent. There is that moment of saying, gee, I really want to show more respect. And I'll typically give a power thought, which should be a thought that's repeated over and over again. I will cherish my mother while I still have her, or I'll cherish my father while I still have him. Because although there's a tremendous impact of that death visualization therapy, it can be lost over time. The emotional impact will be diminished. But that thought, I will cherish my mother while I still have her, I'll cherish my father while I still have him, that's extremely important for maintaining a respectful attitude. Now, if a parent were to die, when the last words of a teenager or anybody to this person was negative, the child will always regret, gee, my last words was something terrible, and will live the whole life in regret. So, I tell parents, it's important to not allow your children to disrespect you. If they disrespect you, they're going to disrespect themselves because you are internalized within them. If they disrespect you, they're going to disrespect the institutions of society. They're going to disrespect the police, their teachers, and they're going to disrespect the laws of God itself. Now, that disrespect, the whole issue of respect, is a key issue in our society. The main issue that we have today in our educational system is not funding. It's not how many computers. It's not how updated the computers are. It has to do with how much respect the child showed the parent. If the child showed respect to the parent, they're more likely to show it to the teacher. If a child respects the teacher, they're going to get an excellent education. Absolutely. Will get an excellent education. So there has to be that thirst for knowledge and also that respect. Excellent education. You can have roofy leaks or no roof at all out in the woods. Doesn't matter. They'll get a great education. Now, today we'll have the privilege of having my daughter Natasha, who's 14, who really is not a rebellious teenager. And for somehow she was born a Republican, actually born a Republican. I don't know how it happened, but had Republican ideas early on.